What is going on, everybody? My name is Aaron Haven. I'm with Team Plastic Addicts located in Pekin, Illinois for the 2021 disc golf season. And I've decided to make it a little bit more of a point to share some tips and tricks and some drills with you guys to help improve your disc golf game.
Dad, my fashion.
So the very first one we have today is a putting drill. Now, just to preface this, I want you guys to understand that I'm an amateur disc golfer. I'm 932 rated right now, playing between intermediate and advanced division based on the tournament. But in my opinion, putting is the most important part of a disc golf game. Everyone's heard the classic saying, drive for show, putt for dough. But if it weren't for my putting, my game would be a whole lot worse. Putting saves me a ton of strokes consistently out on the course. So we're gonna get right into some drills and some tips just so you guys can see some improvement on your putting as you go out and play. Before we get going with the actual drill that we're gonna be doing today, I wanna give a few pointers just to kind of get yourself mentally prepared before you actually go into the drill or you're stepping up to a putt, whether it's a casual round or a tournament round. There's a few things that I think are really important to remember even before you step up to the lie. For me, I have the strong opinion that inside the circle, it doesn't really matter what putter you use. Inside the circle, pretty much every putter is gonna fly exactly the same. So my strongest recommendation is find a putter that is comfortable for you. Whether you like beads, you don't like the bead, you like a deep putter, you like a shallow putter, you like the soft, you like the firm, whatever it happens to be, find a putter that's comfortable for you and get in the routine of using that. I've finally decided to settle on the Fierce. It's a pretty understable, pretty glidey putter that is a softer plastic, but it just fits so nicely in my hand. And I know inside the circle, I'm really confident with my putting inside the circle. And that all comes down to the very first tip that I have is feel in your hand. When you grab your putter to step up to the lie, you want to have a comfortable grip the second you grab the putter. You don't want to have to move your hand around searching for where the right spot is. You want to be able to grab the putter, hold it in your grip to putt at the basket and have it be comfortable right away. So I found that the Fierces are the perfect putter for me in that mindset. Number two to keep in mind is aim small on the basket. I really like to find one single chain. You'll hear this a lot. Find one single chain or a sticker on the basket or on the pole that are through the chains. But for me, every basket has a chain, so I focus on one link and I aim for that link with the mentality of aim small, you miss small. If you're aiming at the big basket, the entirety of the basket, you have a big target. So if you happen to pull it right, pull it left, you're missing by a much bigger margin. If you find one single link and you focus on that link and you try to nail that link on all of your putts with your consistent putting motion, then your miss is gonna be small, it's gonna be inside the basket, and you'll find more putts are actually landing inside the basket. Tip number three, settle between a push putt or a spin putt. The constant back and forth switching between the two, it has its times where it's useful in the round, whether it's a tight lie or a low lie, or you don't have a full stance, you can switch up which kind of putt that you decide to do, but stick with the push or the spin and get really consistent with that. If you keep changing it up, you're never gonna have a consistent feel within your putting stroke. And then tip number four is find a routine that works for you and do that every single time you step up to a putt. Whether it's a 10-footer, a 30-footer, or a 55-footer. Whatever putt you're faced with, find your routine, go into your routine, because you've probably heard it a whole bunch now, we're looking for consistency. Something that you can mimic over and over and over and over again and build up that muscle memory on what a putt is supposed to look like and supposed to feel like as you let it go from your hand. So those are just four pretty basic tips to kind of keep in mind as you're walking up to your lie for a putt, whether you're looking at a tap in, you're looking at a long jump putt. Go through your routine, find some consistency, find the putter that sits well in your hand, aim small, miss small. If you go through those things in your head, you'll be way more mentally prepared to step up to the basket and attack that putt that you're faced with. All right, for this drill, we're gonna be doing something super, super simple. You can do this outside if you have space inside. Pretty much anytime you have access to a basket, you can do this drill. And I recommend going through it 2 or 3 times, a couple times a week. And I can guarantee you that if you follow this drill, you're going to see strokes shaved off of every round. You're gonna find more confidence in your putt. You're gonna have more putts landing in the basket. And disc golf is just gonna be a whole lot more fun for you. So If you notice, I'm inside a building right now, which is super helpful because inclement weather means that I have the ability to continue practice putting. But you're pretty much looking for a space where you can set up a basket and be able to putt from maximum 35 feet away. 35 feet is right outside the circle, and basically we want to find as much consistency as we can as amateur disc golfers and even barely turning pro. If you can have a really high make percentage inside the circle and right at circle's edge, you're going to move up in rating, move up in divisions really, really quick. Once you get outside the circle, like middle of circle 2, outside circle 2, jump putting is important, but you really want to be consistent inside that circle, because if you're faced with that jump putt and you miss, you want to be able to make the comebacker pretty consistently so you have more confidence running those longer putts. You pretty much only need 2 discs and 5 markers. So it's really easy for anybody to do. You can use minis, which is what I have. You can use cones, sticks, rocks, hats, shoes, whatever you have lying around to make this happen. So just like I talked about in the very beginning of the video, we are looking for as much consistency as we possibly can. So in order to get that consistency, we want to get in a repetition of making putts. If you have more than 2 of the same putting mold, feel free to use them. But I feel like it's very important to consistently use the same putter for this drill. If you have 5 different putters that you're using, you're not gonna get that consistent feel that we're looking for. So make sure you're using the same mold of putter if you're gonna use multiple. I have 2 of these in my bag. I have 2 of them with me every time I go to play. So if I wanna pop this drill out real quick, even after a round, before a round warming up, I have the ability to do so. So I have 2 putters, so I'm gonna be walking back and forth to the basket a whole bunch. But basically you're setting up 5 markers. I have right here in front of the stage, which is gonna be marker number 1. It's really close to the basket. It's a tap in, but again, the point is let's get consistent. Let's get in the mindset of I can make these putts, and you're getting that mental boost of I can make putts. After this short tap in, you're looking at adding minis at 20 feet, 25 feet, 30 feet, and 35 feet for this final mini. So when we're looking back at the basket, you have all of these common distances that you'll be faced with when you're putting inside the circle. If you're in between those putts, say you have an 18-foot putt, if you can confidently make a 15-foot putt and you can confidently make a 20-foot putt, an 18-foot putt should be nothing for you. So this drill kind of helps build that mental confidence that you need to be able to knock down any putt that you're faced with. So basically what you're gonna do is you're gonna start at each of those markers, each of those 5 markers, and you're gonna putt 10 times. You're gonna count how many makes you have. Once you putt 10 times from that spot, you're gonna move back to the next marker and you're gonna go all the way through. So by the end, you have 50 putts done. So when you go back and do it a second time, 1, you'll be able to see if you're improving on those putting distances, but you're also getting about 100 putts in, and you're getting in that repetition of hitting from that distance. So we're gonna start out for the first 4 stations. And at that point, after the 4, I'm gonna pause and talk a little bit before we get to the 35 footers, because there's a few tips that I want to point out before we get there. So also keep in mind that inside the circle, you're not allowed to jump putt. So make sure you practice keeping balance behind your lie. It's very important. So here we go. It may seem silly starting from that close, but you're going to make them. You're making 10 out of 10 every single time you do that. So it's, again, like I said multiple times in this video, it's about confidence and consistency. You're wanting to get the idea of I can make putts. You're building that confidence of this is what it looks like and sounds like for a putt to go in the basket. And you're kind of also getting a little bit of idea of how that particular basket is gonna respond to different hits. All right, so you've completed your first 4 stations. That's tapping right by the basket, 20 feet, 25 feet, and 30 feet. And now you're ready to move back to the 35 feet right outside the circle. I made 37 out of those 40 putts, which I'm pretty happy with that number. I'm kind of looking to be 80% or better from inside the circle. Obviously the 20 and 25 feet, I would like to be better than the 30 feet, but if I can keep it 80% or better at my skill level right now, I'm really happy, and I'm only gonna see that number increase. So that I just did, I'm really happy with. I had a couple that were just barely wide, but again, that goes right back to the aim small, miss small mentality. So we're about to move back to the 35 feet, right outside the circle, and there's a couple key pointers I wanna point out here. Now, normally you're outside the circle, so you would be able to jump putt. And jump putting is a great thing. I'm not discounting jump putting whatsoever, but for this drill specifically, it's just barely outside the circle. We're going to focus on standstill putts from 35 feet, because that's going to work on your pop as you release the disc, how much power it comes off of your fingertips as you go to release the disc, as well as the power that you're able to generate by kicking off of your back foot and really like pushing towards the basket. So it's really, really important, especially if you have a low ceiling or something and you need to get a lot of pop even from 15 feet from under a tree branch or whatever. That pop is what's gonna help propel your disc better at the basket in a straighter line. So you don't have to try to rely on this big wrist snap for a hyzer to get around something to get power. This is gonna build up muscle within your hand and within your legs and within your core to muscle that disc to the basket, get that pop. So if you can consistently like stand still putt from 35 feet, you're going to build that muscle quickly and you're gonna be more comfortable from 35-foot range. The biggest thing to keep in mind for this spot more than any of the others is keeping your chest high. You wanna keep your chest elevated. You wanna keep your chest facing forward, and as you go down and pop up, you wanna keep that chest high and facing at the basket. Because as you do that, you're gonna generate more power through your core to be able to pop that disc and just put it on a straight line right at the center of the basket. I just finished my putting drill from 35 feet. I was only 4 for 10, 40%. That's not super great. I'd really like my outside the circle putts, right at circle's edge, I should say, to be 60% or better. I had 2 of them that actually hit high right side of the chains and just kind of dropped down outside the edge of the basket. So those are kind of, depending on what basket you're putting on, may or may not stick. So that's something that I need to improve on, but for this putting drill, I'm okay with the end results for this. So you guys saw me perform this putting drill in real time. I didn't do any cuts or redos or anything like that. This is the actual number that I produced from just one set of 50 putts. So I strongly recommend you do this 2 times through. Keep track of the first round. See if from the second round you can improve on that. One thing you may notice from my 35-foot putts, which I forgot to mention this before, but I think it's pretty important as well. When you're looking at those longer putts, I actually put my back foot, I stride just a little bit wider. My back foot is a little bit farther back than it is from anywhere inside the circle, because that extra little bit of distance that I have on that stride allows me to get a little bit more power and a little bit more pop to propel that disc straight at the basket. All right, guys, that's all I have for you for the putting drills for my practice routine. So I'll probably do some videos later on that give some tips and some tricks for uphill putts as well as downhill putts because those get a little bit different, a little bit trickier than just flat ground putts. So just to recap, we're all focused on consistency and confidence. If you're lacking consistency and you're lacking confidence, your putt's gonna be off. You need to get that muscle memory going so you can carry that all the way through. So if you guys have any questions or suggestions for future videos, for tips and tricks, leave it in the comment down below. Please like this video, share this video to help out some of your buddies that may need some putting tips as well. And definitely be sure to subscribe, because the more subscribers we have, the more videos I can push out and hopefully help reach some more of you guys on tips and tricks to improve. So I want to thank my sponsor, Plastic Addicts Disc Golf Supply in Pekin, Illinois. Be sure to check them out online. If you're local to the area, check them out in store. They've got an awesome selection of discs and apparel. And you know, basically anything you need for your disc golf cravings, they got them there. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.